know myself and not
Yeah.
that external validation or that external input to make me recognize my worth. I'm going to get emotional again now. Sorry. To make me recognize my worth. Sorry.
That's all right. That's good. That's okay.
I think it's really just about being really straight and honest.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, if someone turns out to be an energy vampire of some
Yeah.
description, I've always been straight with them. So I then
Yep.
don't feel bad about kind of pulling those people out of my life and pulling away from them. You know, it's been a
Yeah.
long journey. Don't get me wrong. This is not something I managed to sort of shift in terms of my mindset and the way I live overnight. This has been like years in the.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get it that sometimes when I talk about this stuff, people try to rationalize what I'm saying. But actually, again, get out of your head. It's not rational. It's about kind of the way you feel in here.
So this episode actually happened a little differently from what was planned. What was planned was a wee 20-minute talk for me to tell Kat about the podcast, and also to ask Kat if there's anything, any subject or anything about the future episode which I wouldn't be able to touch on. And I always do this with all my podcasts. I speak to them and I say that this is what it's all about, and I just give them a wee kind of heads up. But the thing is, when I started talking to Kat, the conversation flowed really quite well. It was so open and it was so honest, it was so natural, and before I knew it, we were in the heart of the conversation. And she shared with me some deep insight into her own journey, life on the road, as well as her wee adventures with her dog Puddin. What was so powerful about it was that she's so grounded, she's so honest, and I think that this episode captures that exactly. So what you're about to hear in this interview, it's an unexpected, genuine chat, and it turns into something really special. I hope you enjoy it as much as I did.
So, right. So, if we're starting just now, right? If we're going to go anywhere, but like I said to you before, this won't get used. But if it does get used, then it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Probably better to get my hair done. My hair needs for that. It's too short at the moment.
I quite was
So,
expecting that when you first answered. So
what's that? Sorry.
I love the
Oh, it's a fucking mess. So,
and I like
I don't know if you've seen any of my videos on before. My hair's was quite long and it was back a bit, and I
okay.
could be able to do that. Now I've got it short, and it's just at that stage. My hair's so fucking thick that
Yeah.
the Irish fucking side of my family just are ruining me. So
You need
they don't
to
care.
embrace that. You need to embrace it. There's a lot of men that don't have hair and they would give their hind leg for the head of hair. That so
Well, the thing is as well, my mum's side, they say you get it from your mum's side, right? My mum's side, all her brothers are bald, right?
oh
But my dad's, and I don't know if you can notice, right? But there's a fucking line there. It's rising every day, right? And
I
my dad's side, the Irish side, and they're all thick, white
yeah,
fucking hair. Do you know what I mean? So it is what it is. But
yeah,
we'll get that right. So you've got a wee half an hour. Let's kind of dig
yeah.
into why I'm doing it. Doing it because it's mental health, suicide prevention. You're giving people options. So you've actually inspired me when I look at your videos, right? You probably get this quite a lot. You really have, because I'm like that. She's fucking making it look so easy.
I
You
do you know
make it look so easy.
I'm still surprised that people tell me it's inspiring them because for me it wasn't about that. You know, I had to do something. But yeah,
Mm.
it's amazing to think that it is inspiring people.
You 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 started and you didn't know what you were doing, right? So, for example, your videos and all that. You it looks like to me like I've done a few seminars and I've went to a few courses, but I've never really thought, right, okay, well, that's what I'll do and I'll do it, right? So what makes it easier for you? What was your first kind of point? Like, I'm going to try this. And did you keep failing? What was happening?
Do you mean with moving into the van?
Not with moving into the van, but also your video techniques. So were you
Okay.
getting somebody to hold the video, or were you just setting it up, trying it
No,
out?
I guess my background is in marketing. I was in the corporate world for like 23 years, and it was all marketing based. So I had I understand composition. I understand how you can kind of balance a image and make it look good. So I have an eye for that sort of stuff. I worked in a creative industry for a long time. So that side of it. And I've also done, I've been in front of a camera a lot. I've done like product demonstrations for big corporates that I work for. I've done a lot of modeling and stuff like that. So, and present in front of rooms of people. So in terms of like talking to the camera and understanding what looks good in terms of a composition, that stuff, I didn't have to learn that. That was already there. So I appreciate not everybody's got that background.
No.
But the editing side of it was obviously new. And the way that again, I've been really lucky. The guy there's a guy that set it up for me in the first instance. He offered to do it, and I was like, what's that in it for you? And he's like, no, I just really want to help people. Anyway, he tried not to be the kind of person that he initially told me he was, so I broke off the relationship with him.
Right, okay, that happens, right?
Yeah, so he'd edited 2 videos. They're hidden from view now, but the second one, I actually sat with him while he edited it. So
you can see.
Yeah, so I watched, and that was how I picked up most of the ways of doing it, the technical stuff. It's really, again, because of my background, I think some of that stuff was a little bit easier for me to pick it up because I understood, I work a lot in the creative environment. I've seen how.
Yeah.
So that I was probably very lucky in that instance. But as time's gone on, I think rather than, I never plan anything.
No.
Literally just film my life, and sometimes it's a bit raw and a bit close to the bone, both in terms of the quality but also in terms of how open I am. I'm probably a little bit too open, but for me it's quite cathartic, and I feel like I'm never alone because I've always got all the people that are watching to talk to. I genuinely feel like I'm on that journey. And also because I don't plan anything, I don't have to maintain an image, so it's just easy because I think and I'm not knocking anybody else because I think there's an audience for everything, but there's a lot of people out there, it looks so polished and perfect, and I'd love to be able to do that, but I'm lucky if I brush my hair when I get out of bed in the morning. I'm going to make all the effort just to make it look more acceptable so that people will accept it. I think if I'm myself, then the people that I will attract the right people because they're the people who like things raw, don't want any of the stuff,
So I'm glad you picked up on the hair again there, Kat. Thank you so much. This was done this morning at some point, and it looked quite good
I
until
did brush
I left the house. And he's shaved off. I need to go bald. But
no,
so
great. I love it.
it's all right. No, it's great. But so were you coming through that background? Was there any moment? And I guarantee you've been asked this, but was there any moment that you thought, right, that's it. I've had enough. I'm just going to go and get the van. I'm going to go and get a van. Were you thinking about the van for ages before this?
No,
before leaving the corporate world, in a sense?
So my ex-husband, we've been separated for almost 20 years.
Right.
But when I first met him, he was wide awake. And he used to talk to me. I wasn't in the right headspace. I wasn't interested in telling me about them. But I did respect him because I knew he was a very clever man. He's well-researched, well-read. And therefore, if he said something to me with conviction, like, Catherine, you need to make sure you don't have a mortgage, or Catherine, you need to make sure you're not doing this, or, I'd think, okay. And that would kind of stick in the back of my mind, and I would tweak my lifestyle accordingly. And I've got a lot to thank him for, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it wasn't lockdown that I truly wanted to understand what was going on, because there was some trauma in my personal life happened that first initiated me thinking there's something wrong with this system. Then we went through lockdown, and that kind of thing. I thought, okay, right, I need to know now. I need to get my head around what's going on. So I said to him, right, what do I do? And he said, right, start here. And he gave me some recommended reading, predominantly biblical stuff, actually, to sort of start me on that journey. He just set a few seeds, and then I kind of went through the journey that you navigate your own journey through this stuff, don't you? Until you find out what's actually going on. So that was that. But there was a lot of other things, predominantly through lockdown, where I found myself homeless for about, I say 5 weeks. I wasn't actually homeless. I was homeless for a night. I managed to get into a hotel by getting a letter from my employer.
Right.
After that, I had to rent a caravan on like a caravan site, which no one was using because everyone was locked down.
Right.
And
Okay.
there for 5 weeks. And during that time, that's what made me realize how vulnerable we all are. So
Yeah.
at that point, that was made me think I need to get a van, because if ever this happens, I know I'll always have a roof over my head. I've got somewhere I can sleep that's safe. Because at the time I was driving a sports car, so I couldn't sleep in my car. So it was like I was literally had to
Yeah.
anyway. And obviously you couldn't go and stay at someone's house because everyone was in their stupid bloody bubbles. Anyway.
Yeah. That's right.
So that's when I decided to get a van. It still was a couple of years before I managed to get hold of one, and then I just used it for weekends away and things like that, and exploring, and I loved it. And this was when I said I was living in my house, and I was in a really dark place at the time. Again, there was some of the trauma from earlier that was still kind of haunting me a little bit, and I just didn't want to be here anymore. I couldn't understand what was the purpose. I was thinking, what is this all about? This is not like a life, that we're just surviving. I felt really a lot of questions going through my head as to, like, I wasn't suicidal, but I just didn't
No.
want to be.
No.
And at that time, that was when I had a couple of lodges. I decided to let out my bedroom as well.
Right. That's right.
So that gave me a bit of an income. And I decided to move into my van. And it was only shortly after that I then got pudding as well. So moving into my van and getting pudding was actually what saved me, really.
So kind of synonymous at the same time. But
Yeah,
pudding was a really a lifesaver.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't even talk about it without me wanting to cry when I talk about she's here asleep. About
She's
my girl.
beautiful. She's
Yeah,
so beautiful, and she's just so cute. And she doesn't seem to bother us, and she doesn't seem to be one of those dogs that bothers people, as in barks and
no,
stuff like that.
she's brilliant with people. I can trust her with little kids and
Yeah.
everything. Other dogs, she's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Well, I'll get that. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yes,
that's sometimes people are like that as well.
yeah. She's got like big dog energy. She thinks she's big, so playing with big
Yeah.
dogs.
Yeah.
As she plays with a little dog, she tries to kick the shit out of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, and she's got a little chihuahua in her. So even when she plays, she sounds like she's being really aggressive. So other dog
Yeah.
owners, anyway, she's
No,
like
that's good.
my literally is my therapy dog. She's
Yeah.
been, yeah, I can't even explain. Yeah, so that was the journey really, to getting in the van. And then from there, I moved into my van with nothing apart from a little gas camping stove and an inflatable mattress. Literally nothing else. I moved into it in March, but it was still snowing. So it was
Mhm.
not last winter, the winter before. So it was still snowing. It was Baltic, but I would just sleep in a hat and gloves and everything. But instantly, as soon as I moved in, I was like, oh my God, this is it. I've done.
So you could feel it from that point.
Immediately. I literally, like I'm going to cry. Every day just felt so exciting and so liberating. And
Oh, wow.
like, I can't express the shift from where I was in this kind of place of I just don't want to be here, to going,
Yeah.
oh my God, oh my God. Like everything was exciting in a not
Wow.
really ridiculous, exciting way, but I had
Yeah.
this something reignited in me that made me feel like, I was living again. I wasn't just surviving. It was yeah.
Was there times though, obviously, because I've been thinking a lot about your videos and people that sleep from vans, right, and camper van stuff, right, and I get so, I'm like, that must be so amazing. But what I do think is like, right, when I'm going to toilet at
I
3 in the morning, right,
everything,
or
yeah. That but
it's
that is, to me, that's what I enjoy, is the fact that everything's difficult.
the challenge.
I could move into a house and everything's easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could use a toilet. I could cook my food. Everything's easy.
Yeah.
Every day is a challenge. I have to. My van's obviously tiny, so everything's got a critical path.
Yeah.
And have I got enough water? Going to the toilet, like you say.
Yeah. Well, I seen your video. I seen one of your recent videos about your wee video, your water. I don't actually know how old the video was, because I'd watched one for 4 days ago, and then I watched one right after it, which was about a year ago, and it was telling you you've got a wee canister at the back with when you keep your water, and so you've always got a sufficient amount of water to go to, you
Yeah,
know.
my little van's evolved over the
Yeah.
period I've been in there, and it's now actually it's quite comfortable really now. Even
Wow.
the challenges that I need are still there to like make me
Do,
feel like
do you
living.
have a? I take it you've got a. So me personally, I've my brother-in-law is he fixes cars
Yeah.
and he's got a garage. I stay right next to him, right? So if anything ever happens to my van or my cars, he'll fix it and he'll tell me and I can trust him with my life in a sense. Do you have somebody like that you can take your van to and that to
Yeah,
fix it for service and stuff like that?
yeah, I have like a garage that I use all the time. And in fact,
Yeah.
actually, the garage in my van was the guy who initially said to me that there's a Volkswagen Caddy for sale, Catherine. I think it's suit. So he
So
was the
that
one.
this is before
Yeah,
you got it.
yeah, I don't know them. I mean, I know them personally because they've worked on my van.
Yeah.
Um, they are good. They're a good mechanic. I
Yeah.
trust them.
Yeah.
And then I've got there's another unit, if you like, next to them
Yeah.
where I go about like the electrical stuff like that. And they've actually become really good friends. They're really lovely guys. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I'm of the. This is some of the thing. This is one of the things that's really shifted in me since I've kind of been on this little journey. Is that I have succumbed to the universe, if you like.
Yeah.
Like woo woo on you. But the thing is, I think a lot of what we do in this life is we want something, so we have a vision of what that outcome should be, and we kind of want to control the way that we get there.
Yeah.
But I've I've just now I whatever feels I follow my heart with everything. So if something
Yeah.
feels, I'll do it. I
Yeah.
don't control it, and I don't try and control the outcome. So actually, if the
Yeah.
outcome is what I was imagining, then that's fine, because I trust that
Yeah.
there's better things for me than what I was even
Yeah.
expecting or trying to get. So that's the thing with the van. Like, people say to me, I mean, I haven't got, I'm going to say this out loud now and I'm probably going to bloody jinx it, but, I don't have a spare wheel. Like this,
Whoops.
yeah, and there's things that I
Whoops.
like, why don't you do that? And I'm like, well, because I trust that that's not going to happen. And if it does, I trust that I'll
Right.
be in the right place when
You
it does.
wait.
Yeah.
Do you have like an emergency van breakdown or anything like that?
Yeah. So through my bank, actually, I
Right.
do have
Okay.
a
Okay.
travel pack. So I've
So
got like,
you've got that if it was the worst thing ever. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
break down on a French motorway last year. I was 4 hours on a French motorway in 40-degree heat, which
Oh
was,
my goodness.
yeah. But even though it was, I mean, they're legally they're not meant to leave you there for more than half an hour. And I was there for 4 hours, and like, what it restored my faith in humanity as well, because
Yeah.
so many lorry drivers would stop, and all different nationalities, like literally about three of them stopped and handed me a bottle of drinking water from their lorry, so that because obviously
Wow. They
in
could
me.
see.
Yeah, and I just think, you know, that's some of the stuff that the human level since I've been in the van. That's the stuff that I've seen a lot more of. Like people just want to help people.
Yeah.
You, we're so conditioned to fear all the time and
Yeah.
worry.
Yeah.
So actually, once you let go of all of that and just allow things to be and trust that it will be good, you will really start to see how lovely people are. You stop
Yeah.
watching everything because that's where all the fear porn, I call it, all the fear porn's always
Yeah.
there. And
Yeah.
as soon as you kind of stop engaging with any of that and actually just look to the universe and see it for what it actually is in reality, you'll notice that everyone you come into contact with just wants to help or is just a
Yeah.
lovely person. Yes, you get the odd person who can't help but be a dick, but generally it's because they're
Yeah.
going. So as long as
But
you're compassionate with them and understand, then
your whole identity and your community is what you're doing, right? But the first thing that would come to math when I'm thinking about like if I could leave and just go and live in a van, I'm leaving my community. I would need not that you need to, but that's how some people would think, right? You're constantly moving home, for example, right? So
yeah,
your identity is just you're just taking it with you. Whereas some people go like, what happened to your identity? What happened to your community? What happened to all that kind of stuff? Because you must spend a lot of time in, well, you must
sorry,
spend a lot of time in solitude
a
and
lot of
stuff
time.
like that. You must spend a lot of time like solitude from
Oh,
everybody and I don't
yeah,
know. Sorry. So the word would be, or this question would be, has solitude ever broken you or taught you something
yeah.
new?
So for me. I mean, especially when I was traveling across Europe, I needed that solitude because I
Yeah.
wanted. I think a lot of us put a lot of onus on other people to validate our worth. You know, we
Yeah.
kind of, and we like to be needed. We like to be able to add value to other people's lives. And yes, I completely get that, and I need that too. And I mean, I'm lucky now that I get to do that through my channel. But actually, I wanted to like know myself and not
Yeah.
that external validation or that external input to make me recognize my worth. I'm going to get emotional again now. Sorry. To make me recognize my worth. Sorry.
That's all right. That's good. That's
um,
okay. Are
so
you all right?
the solitude and the times when I was on my own, I never actually felt lonely because I mean I've got a lot of friends that I speak to online, and obviously there is a lot of people that predominantly I connected through lockdown where we have a lot of the same principles and values and ways of looking at things. So I know I've always got those people that are there and I can chat to them. You know, I've built up some really good friendships with people I've never met, but
Yeah.
I relate to them completely wholeheartedly, and I see them as part of my community as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but in terms of I also believe that if we're leaving something behind, it's because because we need to make something else, room for something else to enter our lives. So
Yeah.
I never mourn the loss of people or places in my life because I recognize that it's just part of the journey and that it's
Yeah.
opening
It's
something.
part of your growth.
Yeah, and people often say to me, "Do you get lonely?" And the truth is, no. I've never, ever, ever felt any level of loneliness. The only negative stuff I've felt is because there's been times where I've been looking really deep on this journey, you know, and
Yeah.
I've really sort of starting to dig down and understand myself. And then sometimes I might get a comment on my YouTube channel or something which triggers something clearly that's unhealed in me, which is usually related to some of my previous trauma. And to start with that, I mean, there was times when I wanted to pack it all in because I wasn't able to cope with the pain that brought back up from my previous
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
However, that happened again, literally about a week and a half ago. I went through a period of a lot of that stuff got resurfaced that I was triggered for some old comments from people. Sorry, some comments from people that triggered some of that old pain.
Yeah.
But the brilliant thing was at this time I recognized it for what it was, and instead of it made me cry, and I got really
Yeah.
upset,
Yeah.
everything else. But actually, this time, even through that process of being really upset, I recognized that it was cathartic, and actually, I recognized it for what it was that actually they triggered something in me that I previously hadn't allowed myself to feel that pain and suffering. So this time, I allowed myself to feel it. I allowed myself to process it, and I've come out the other side of that, and I think, oh my god, something's actually shifted in me now, rather
So
than
you were almost be able to take yourself out the equation,
yeah.
look at it, become aware of it, and then give a
And
different answer from what you would do normally.
yeah, and recognize that it was because there was part of me that was still suffering. Instead of
Yeah.
it, they're horrible or I'm feeling whatever, I actually
Mhm.
recognize they've triggered this old wound in me. I was able to process it. Now I've still got to test. Well, I have tested it. There were some comments yesterday about the same sort of subject, and I didn't get triggered in the same way. And it was so I really feel like there's been a sort of bit of a process here.
There's been a complete and utter shift that
Yeah.
you can control.
Yeah, and actually, that was one of the things really early on from YouTube. I recognized that it was, even though people can write nasty things,
Yeah.
it was quite a privilege because actually, what it's done is a lot of people go through life and they don't know what their triggers are. They
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
decide healed. Whereas this was like fast track, trigger, trigger, trigger. So I'm like, okay, well, this is actually a luxury. I'm able to recognize really quickly what all my triggers are, and what stuff I still need to sort inside myself.
Yeah.
So kind of shifted my mindset to think like that instead of like poor me or they're horrible. I was like, okay, this is an opportunity for me to look into me and see what it is that hasn't been healed,
Yeah.
and recognize that trigger for what it is. It's that's quite a luxury because most people don't get bombarded with triggers to that level. We have to
Mhm.
go through life and it might be like once a month someone will say something
Yeah.
trigger. So actually I try and look at it as a privilege to have been able to potentially heal myself a lot quicker than maybe most people can, because it's like
Yeah. So do you have like mental health practices that you would do like a small space on the road or something like that, right? And you obviously be thinking a lot, right? But do
Yeah.
you have any mental health practices that you would use, kind of similar to like journaling, which you can't do when you're driving?
Yeah.
Meditation, you can't do. Well, I don't know. Can you meditate whilst driving? Is there a sense
Well,
you can do it?
driving is a really small. I think probably people see I move around a lot, but actually I'm still probably driving less miles than most people do if they're going to work and back. You
Oh,
know,
right, okay, right,
I
cool. Because
it,
once you do your journey, uh,
yeah,
that's you. You're kind of, and you might only move about like wee bits
yeah.
of that day, right?
So I yeah, so I think the main thing that I figured as part of this mental health practices that I can do to help me is the first thing is to stop bloody thinking. You know,
Yeah,
because thing
yeah.
we think, and the thing is that if you follow
It's
your
thinking that kills us, man.
well, the brain, the thinking is the ego, and
Yeah.
the thing time we're using the ego, we are fighting. Well, we're your ego is basically always wants to be right, always wants to be best. Da, da, da. And actually, sometimes recognizing that that's not important in this world. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be right. You don't have to be the best. You can just be.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, the best opportunities and the best things come from following your heart rather than your brain. So the main thing I learned is to stop bloody thinking. And then following that is, I mean, I never actually watch any, I don't watch any TV, I don't watch any YouTube, I don't even listen to music actually. So I do spend a lot of time just being, which I know most people can't do. I do have the luxury that I don't have to.
Do you watch your own channel and do you watch your own stuff back? As in, so
Well, I
similar to
yeah,
similar to what journaling. Do you watch it back
I
and go,
yeah, I
aye, that
have
makes sense?
editing. You know, every time I edit something, I
Yeah,
bloody
of
watch
course,
it
of course.
8 times. But having said that, I'm menopausal, so I've got no memory anyway. So if I watch one from a year ago, I think, oh my god, I forgot I did that.
Aye,
So
yeah,
it's yeah,
yeah,
it's really. Um, but yeah, so the meditating, if you like, or just having time in my just being is
yeah.
really. Spend a lot of time in the countryside. I like to ground a lot, so I'll take my socks and shoes off, or I'll touch nature.
Well,
And
well,
when
I
I'm
did notice. I did. Sorry to cut you off. I did notice that when you get into nature, you're finding gifts all over, right? And you
yeah,
go through it, whether that be magic mushrooms
yeah,
or
one of the
uh,
magic ones, like mushroom.
or if they are magic, but you'll find wee things that
Yeah,
most people wouldn't know, right? And it's like I'm like that because I know that me personally, my girlfriend, she would probably know more than me about that, so she would know like, aye, this is what you want to look at and stuff like that. Whereas I'm looking at your video, and I'm like, God, that looks brilliant because you're so excited about it as well, and it's
I know.
genuine. Do you know
But
you're
it's
genuine
so
about it?
random stuff in my van. Like the other day, I found it's really random. I shouldn't probably tell people about this. I think I'm
No,
mental.
that's fine.
I've got like some really big conkers in my van, and the reason I collected them is because they were all massive and they didn't have spikes on the outside of the casing.
Right,
So I,
okay.
I had to collect some. And I mean, they'll be in there for like a couple of months, and I'll go, why have I still got these? Oh my God. But I can't help. I'm a bit
Well,
of a
I think
bag.
conkers keep away spiders, don't they?
Do they? I don't know.
Supposedly, I think that when they're don't quote me, but I'm
Yeah.
sure somebody says that I used to clean people's houses, right, for my friend's business, and I found like there was like a bowl of conkers on a wee jar in the kitchen, and I was like, there's two or three of these in the house, right? And my mate says I used to keep away the spiders.
Really?
So
See,
I don't know if that's a thing.
I'd rather have the spiders than the flies, though, to be fair.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's well.
but yeah, no, I mean, I do. I just love it. I just think it's like it's just so much there for us to explore. And I know this is a relatively new. The foraging side of it is a relatively
Yeah,
new to me, but
but that's
it's
exciting, isn't it?
yeah, it's really ignited a passion. Actually, I'm loving it. But
What would be your maintenance of your relationships, right? Like your family and friends and stuff like that. How do you work with that when you're not always on the go, but you kind of aren't on the go compared to anybody else?
I yeah. So I mean, my kids. I chat to them every single day, like multiple times a day.
Oh, good. That's good.
And my parents and things, we message all the time. And whenever I'm back in Devon, I always make sure I go and see them. And I'm at my mum's now. And poor woman
Mhm.
can't get rid of me when I'm in Exeter.
No, that's good.
But yeah, so no, they're not. The thing is, I guess again, this might sound a bit random, but like I don't believe that we have to be in each other's presence to be
No.
in each other's presence, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I'm connected with my family always, even if we're in different countries. You know, I don't think
Yeah.
that's a
You
yeah.
say you speak a wee bit about no. So look, you're giving me a lot. I mean, I could ask you them, and what I want to ask you, keep asking more, but that's half an hour. Do you have any longer to spare?
Um, what have I got to do? I've got to get to Bideford. That's the only reason I'm kind of
We can
thinking
do
about
it.
the
We
time.
can do this again next
Yeah.
week or whenever, and just wee bits we're building up to hopefully to meeting. Are you considering coming to Scotland for
Yeah,
a
I'm
drive?
coming to Scotland. Yeah, and actually, there's a friend that I want to meet up with in Glasgow. Well, I say it's a
Right?
friend. Again, it's someone I speak to online. We chat now and then, and while I'm there, I want to make sure I connect. So,
Yeah,
so yeah,
good.
the intention is to go to Glasgow at one point. So,
So that's what I'm saying. So see if you go to Glasgow. So my whole thing about the podcast is getting people involved, getting people around the table. If there's more than one person in the conversation, I'm really happy with that because you
yeah,
get different lights that I would never have been able to see.
yeah,
So if we can let us know and we can keep talking, we can
yeah.
build
It'll be
something.
sometime in December. So,
No, that's fine. That's fine.
yeah,
I'm going through a transition with jobs at the moment as well, so
yeah,
I'll be making sure that there's time to do stuff.
yeah,
It's great. I mean, I must admit, it's good to finally meet you.
yeah, yeah.
Because
No, it's nice.
I've been speaking, and you're probably getting some of my emails and all that. What does that mean? That doesn't make any sense. But I'm trying to keep it like this is what I'm wanting to achieve for the
Yeah,
podcast because what you've got is truly remarkable, and we've already spoke about how much it inspires other people. It's inspired me personally, and I think we've spoke a lot about the things that we do and the things that you're doing and why you're doing it, and it makes complete sense.
mhm,
So
yeah.
you're going to keep
That's
inspiring
yeah.
people as well.
Yeah, I still find it really quite flabbergasting when people say it's inspired them because really for me the process and the journey that I've gone through has been about survival.
Yeah,
You know, I didn't
yeah.
want to I had to do it because if I didn't I would have literally withered away and I
Can
don't know
we?
what would have happened.
Can I ask you about that? We talk about survival, right? Would this be from relationships or is this from a corporate world of working?
No, so survival in terms of my mental health.
Yep.
I was in
So,
such a
but
bad place.
did it stem from like unhealthy relationships, or did it stem from unhealthy relationships and work environment? Was it just
No,
everything?
so it was yeah, so I've been married twice. The
Right.
first marriage was the guy that was awake. He's lovely. We're still friends.
Yeah.
The second guy,
You say awake. That's the second time I've heard you say that.
say
You say
what?
he's awake.
Yeah.
You've said that. Is so there's people who are awake and there's people who are not awake. What do you mean by that?
No, so he's sorry. I hate that term awake. I don't know why I used it actually. He's aware of the dark forces that are in this
Yeah.
realm.
Okay. Okay. I get it. Yes.
And he, you know, we're taught to take everything at face value and trust the government, you know, and he opened my eyes to recognizing that things aren't all what they seem. So that's essentially, you know, and we're still really good friends. He's very, yeah, he's one of those people.
Is
In fact,
he?
his mobile phone number is the only number I ever remember, and we've been separated for nearly 20 years, but he's the only
Wow.
number I can
But
still remember.
that's great. You can still trust him, and you can
Yeah,
still go
a
to him.
hundred. I mean, I would trust him with my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the second husband is the one that essentially we had. Yeah, so that was very toxic. I'm
Yeah.
not going to go into details because
No, no,
obviously
that's
he's
fine.
the
That's
father
fine.
of my
I mean,
daughter.
we don't ever need to do that, and that's fine.
Yeah,
You've done that, and it's something that you're past in a
yeah.
sense.
So that's predominantly that's as far as I'm concerned. That's probably a lot of the reasoning behind why I was where I was. You know,
Mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, but a lot of that probably. I mean, my relationship with him probably stems from unhealed stuff from my childhood. You know, so I'm
Yeah,
not blaming him for it. He was just essentially the probably the biggest contributor at that point in my
yeah,
life.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I
But
mean, and again, I can't blame him. This is the thing, we
no, no,
have
no,
to take
that's fine.
responsibility for ourselves. But
But boundaries, right? People speak a lot about boundaries, and I get asked about boundaries a lot, right? Boundaries with people and with yourself since you've been doing the van life. Has your boundaries completely changed, or have you just learned more about your boundaries and other people's boundaries?
I don't really look at it as boundaries. I
Right.
just now trust myself and
Yeah.
trust the universe and recognize my worth. So
Right.
I don't really treat it like boundaries. I just work off energy. So if someone feels like they're depleting my energy and not
Yeah.
adding anything back in, then I don't have them in my life. It's really
Aye. So
quite
you, yeah,
simple.
and you're so you're quite quick. You've been really quite quick to make a judgment and to realize, right, that's not working for me. I can just leave that and just
Yeah. And it's not
step
even a
away.
judgment really. I just it's more I just do the things that feel good and that feel like they are enhancing my life. And it sounds really selfish. It's not even on that level. Do you know what I mean? I can,
Yeah.
because I don't watch. I'm not affected by fear porn because I don't watch anything. I work
Right.
purely
Yeah.
off my intuition and purely off the sort of energy and the vibe that I feel from people. That I can gauge really quickly as to whether something's going to be good for me or not. And the thing is,
Good.
if I feel like if there's any energy depletion from that person, then the chances are they're not good for me. And what I don't want to do is allow that in, not necessarily the people, but that energy field into my life, because I don't want to return back to the place where I felt like
Yeah.
I didn't want to be here. And I
Yeah.
think it's really important for me now to make sure that the energy that I surround myself
Yeah.
with is building on my
So
my journey.
your
Yeah.
journey. So you're building so much resiliency, and
Yeah.
you're becoming resilient. But you've probably always been resilient, but now you're kind of looking at that and going, no, this is how
Yeah.
I'm going to come back from that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all guilty of a little bit of people pleasing in our lives, and I think really that's the bit I've switched off. Is that
Yeah.
the only person the thing is, I work by the mantra, um, what's it? Do no harm. I can live my life providing there's no harm or damage caused to anybody else, and I think if you work on that, and I'm always open, I won't lead someone up the garden path and then let them down. I'm always
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
open with people that this is what I'm prepared to give you, and if
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not. So I think it's really just about being really straight and honest.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, if someone turns out to be an energy vampire of some
Yeah.
description, I've always been straight with them. So I then
Yeah.
don't feel bad about kind of pulling those people out of my life and pulling away from them. It's been a
And
long journey. Don't get me wrong. This is not something I managed to sort of shift in terms of my mindset and the way I live overnight. This has been like years in the.
yeah. Yeah.
So I get it that sometimes when I talk about this stuff, people try to rationalize what I'm saying. But actually, again, get out of your head. It's not rational. It's about kind of the way you feel in here. And that's kind of. So the first thing is to stop thinking. I know we all want to rationalize everything and make it logical and think about, right, so if I do this,
Yeah.
that's going to happen. And whereas I'm at the point where I don't care what happens, but
Mm-hmm.
providing I feel like I'm doing no harm to anybody else and creating no loss for anybody else, but I'm doing stuff that feels good for me, then what can go wrong?
Yeah.
I trust that it's going to work in my favor.
Yeah.
But again, it's been a massive journey to get to here. And I'm not, there's days when I use my logical brain and screw things up for myself, but
Yeah, and you suppose you're always going to make mistakes. I love making
yeah,
mistakes because it means I can learn from that in a
exactly.
sense. But so let's say I've got a couple more questions, then we can finish, and then I'll let you go. Yes, I know you're
Yeah,
really
okay, two
busy. So
seconds. Let me just check. Mum, have you got a charger, please? I'm on 2%. Sorry.
I don't worry.
Sorry.
That's fine. Don't worry. About it. I'm the same. I've just forgot to charge my phone as well, so it's all good. Uh, I s-
There is one here, but I don't think I've got a cable for it. Sorry, bear with.
no,
I'm
that's
literally
okay.
about to die. I didn't realise it
That's
got
fine.
so low.
That's fine.
Eek. Thank you. It's not full, but it's. Yeah, sorry, Mother's got everything there. She used
Oh,
to be an
good
IT
on her.
manager for a bank, so she's like so techie, and I don't need
Yeah,
to worry
good
about
on her.
technical. Hang on, here we go. Maybe that's why the volume went. Maybe it's because
Yeah, maybe.
there's not enough charge. Yeah, it's charging. Thank you. Well, I might have to hold you there now because otherwise.
That's okay. That's all right. Is that all
Sorry.
good? That's fine. So. So we'll finish having a couple of questions, right? And then I'll let you go and do what you need to do, and I'll
Yeah.
send you an email, and let's try and make a big thing if we can. But but when I say big things, it doesn't have to be big. One question, what would be a tip that you must be get asked all the time on your channel? What's a tip for somebody who's thinking about dipping their wee toe into that water of going out and doing the camper van life? What was your biggest tip?
Don't overthink
Or
it.
do you have a myth? Is there a myth of so the myth of this romantic idea about van life, right? Can you bust any kind of things that people say, oh, we do this and that's going to
Yeah.
happen?
I th-
Can you expose anything like that
yeah,
was
and
really
I
good?
think a lot of the van life channels, and again, you know, it's part of the fantasy for people watching
Yeah,
it. A lot of the van life channels are people spending months renovating their van and making it into their dream van. Now,
yeah, I see a lot of that.
yeah, and actually, yes, that's one side of it, and I totally get it. You know, we want to have a nice van that's really comfortable and home from home and all that. But for me, that's not what it was about. For me, it was about feeling free and the experience of travel.
Yeah,
And those two things are very separate. And I think that sometimes people can spend months and thousands of pounds on a van,
yeah,
but actually when they come to stay in it somewhere, they realise that actually what they've done is probably not that practical. And if they knew what they knew now, they would have done it differently.
yeah.
So I always say to people, don't do up your van, just go and stay in it, you know, maybe down the road or up the campsite, just weekends away, because you will soon learn the things that you do and you don't need. And actually, I mean, I don't need anything apart from what's got in a caddy. You know, we don't need. I mean,
So
yeah,
see your caddy because I've got my van's a Renault traffic van, right?
right.
But the my first initial thing was, do I need to get the outside? See the outsides, like, do I need to get that barrier stuff put in? See that you buy the barrier stuff, and it's like it's almost
Insulation.
like it's like insulation tape and all that, and
Uh,
put the insulation pads and all that. Did you have to do all that with your van?
I haven't done anything like I've got no, I insulated
So
my door.
is
But
it for
that's
me? I'm like that. It would be also your floor's been insulated, right? So
no,
your
my
heat
door, just my door.
or your door.
I was planning on doing the whole thing and I did the door and I thought, oh, this is too hard, I can't be asked. So I
So
just put the
is that not affected you then? That's not clearly it's not stopped you.
well, no, I mean, I quite like being cold.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a sadist, I think. I like the difficult stuff about
No,
what I
not get it.
do. So I know, I appreciate that's not for everybody. I totally get
No,
that.
there's a massive truth in that, and I think when I've done some volunteering with the boys from Marymartyr Scotland and that's suicide prevention kind of stuff,
Yeah,
they've done a lot of cold water therapy, and the cold water therapy is not for everybody, to
yeah,
believe it or not. But when you've done cold water therapy, it really
yeah,
was testing you and your resiliency, and again, there's that word
yeah.
resiliency.
That's something I was about to say actually when we were talking earlier. So you were talking about things that I practice to help me with my mental health, and actually
Yeah,
one of the things I was going to say is when I know that I'm in a need a massive reset, that's when I do the cold water
I've
because
seen you jumping into
yeah,
the sea
as soon as you come out of
and
that,
you don't want to do it.
no, it's
You never
awful.
want to do it.
I
But
hate
when
it.
you come out, you feeling no, I don't understand that feeling completely because when
Yeah,
I was doing the cold water stuff, I was like,
yeah,
I don't want to do this. But when you do it and you come out,
yeah.
it's a game
It's
changer.
yeah, it's the same as like running. I hate freaking running, but as soon as I've done
Yeah.
it, I think, oh my God, I feel incredible. You know,
And
but yes,
you're doing let's finish off and what's for the journey? What's next for you and what's happening with your journey? I know that are you doing a marathon next or a half marathon or
no,
something
so
like
I did a half marathon in Cyprus, so I
that? Right.
finished that. Yeah, and I mean, I did it in the time that I wanted to. I mean, I can't quite believe I managed to do it. To be honest, I did
So what was
5
the
weeks.
time?
Oh, it's like 2.5 hours, so
Oh,
it's
that's
still
still good.
yeah. But it was I did 5 weeks to train for it, and at the
Yeah,
beginning,
yeah, but that's amazing the fact you still completed it.
yeah, and it wasn't an organised one. It was I did it with my friend Pascal, and we did it
Right.
at night because we were in Cyprus. It was 30 degrees during the day, so it was still like 25, 26 in the night.
The fact that
We
you
did
could
it at
do
like
that.
4 o'clock in the morning, but we made our own drink stations and things, and he's a marathon runner anyway, so I had him
Right.
next.
So
So you
he
know, I mean, I probably couldn't have done it without him.
no, you need somebody and that was great that you had
Yeah,
somebody to do that with you.
but that was a so this is part of my list of my fuck it before 50s that I did,
Yeah,
which things that I wanted to achieve.
yeah.
And stuff that's still on that list, which I'm hoping to achieve, is learning the bass guitar. That's the next one. I'm not getting
Right,
very
I've seen you do that. That's great.
yeah. I want to. I want to learn to surf, but my last trip, my surfboard snapped on top of my car, on my van on a motorway, and I kind of realised that was an omen that maybe I shouldn't be doing that at the
Right,
moment. So
okay.
slightly back burner.
That's the back
Uh,
burner.
the bass thing actually is not only do I need to learn the bass, I need to learn it enough to be able to cameo in a band performance. So
Right?
I've got a friend, Paul, who's in 3 bands, and he's already said you can join our band, like just come up and do 1 or 2 tracks with them. So that's the
Yeah.
goal. It won't be by the end of this year, but it will be.
Oh, that'd be amazing. So do you
Yeah.
that would be amazing. But do you see yourself? So some people. I mean, I get asked, what's your 5-year plan? I don't have one, but
No.
my 5-year plan was, look, if anybody I ever meet from the podcast channel or whatever, and I make them feel happy and I make them in a better place, or they can make me better, then I've achieved. That's me. I'm done.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, that's, to be honest, this is where I feel like I've been really lucky, and it's a real privilege with the channel stuff. Because, like I said,
Hmm.
times I wanted to pack it in,
Hmm.
but now I've recognised that some people, I mean, there's some of the messages I get through my personal as well as through the channel, that people say that it's inspired them to do things, or like some people say, I've got ADHD and sitting down and watching your videos is the only thing that calms my mind.
Yeah.
And just stuff like that. And other people say, you don't realise what a difference you've made to these. And I think I feel like I've got a purpose all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an element of responsibility. When I first started getting those messages, I felt really overwhelmed because I thought,
Hmm.
I'm not sure I want this responsibility. It feels
Yeah.
really quite. It's a bit too much. But now I just think, I mean, what a bloody privilege to be able to do that. And I'm not motivated financially, so I get a lot of brands messaging me and wanting me to do stuff. So most of my negotiation usually is like, well, I'll do it, but if you can give me one that I can give away, so that
Hmm.
there's an opportunity for me to give something back, and it's not just about, I don't want it just to be about the money. I want it to be true to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
I feel
it's a
like
business. It's a business at the same time,
it
but
has to.
but, but it has to be. But it's yeah. You've built your own community through your
Yeah,
channel, and you're only going to help people from that. And I get it.
yeah,
I understand it completely, and I love that. So thank you
yeah.
so much.
No, it's I feel very lucky. I feel very privileged. It's mad. I can't believe I'm where I am, really.
It's really good. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I won't
Thank you.
take more of your time. Thank you. I've took 45 minutes of your time, probably
Yeah.
50 minutes of your time. Thank you so much, Kat.
No, you're welcome.
It's been really great to talk to you. I did say this probably won't go anywhere, but it might. I might be able to
Yeah.
just go, "Do you know what, that's acceptable." So I'll send you the video and we'll see how it looks. But
Yeah.
thank you so much
No, you're welcome. Thank
for
you.
being part of Green Sunrise
Yeah, no,
podcasting.
get emotional. I
I'm
feel very.
glad. I'm glad that's good.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad that's good. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Cheers, Paul.
Have a beautiful day, all right?
Yeah. Ciao.
Thank you. Bye
Bye bye.
bye. Bye bye.